7, we'll take the consent agenda as amended first, and then we'll take each of the pulled items separately. So first, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
Motion to approve the consent. Second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Edmond and a second from Mrs. Long. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 7-0. Item 7.4, request approval of the administrative appointment of the Chief Financial Officer. May I have a motion to approve this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Edmond and a second by Mrs. Cook. Mrs. Meyer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In pulling these two items for discussion, I wanted to highlight the significance of each of these roles in our district, the Chief Financial Officer and Chief Academic Officer. After hearing from teachers, parents, and members of the community over the last week, I realized that these changes to our district come with some reservation and concern. I wanted to provide an opportunity for dialogue before we vote on these two consent agenda items and allow for the public to hear about these changes. Next to the superintendent and the deputy superintendent, these two positions are critical to the success of our students, teachers, and district as a whole. The fiscal responsibility of managing a $1.7 billion budget and navigating the academic success of almost 100,000 students amid changing laws and statutes is nothing short of challenging and arduous work. With that said, I wanted to share my gratitude for the years of service to our district, to Mr. Smith and Dr. Evans. Thank you, Mr. Smith, and thank you, Dr. Evans, for your incredible work in these critical roles. Mr. Hendrick, would you answer a couple of questions, if you don't mind?
Sure.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so first, could you share some detail in regard to what the job descriptions for each of these roles are and how essential each one of these positions are to our district?
Absolutely. So first, just for the Chief Financial Officer, I think that's the item we're on first. The Chief Financial Officer oversees the $1.7 billion budget, as you said. That includes not only the revenue of that, but the budgeting, the payroll, the auditing, property records, accounting, all of those functions, bid purchasing, all of those functions. They also handle the budget process, the millage rate, the tax roll, our bonds that we have, all of that, the capital budget, which is part of the $1.7 billion. So it's a massive role, and the job description is pretty clear, but it encompasses each of those.
Okay. Can you also share the qualifications, experience, and expertise of the candidate for item 7.4, since we're doing them separately, and why you feel this candidate is the most qualified for this critical role?
I can. I mean, the appointment is mine to make, but in terms of why this individual, we did a national search, and one of the things that I talked to the board about this when Mr. Smith shared his retirement with me, and by the way, replacing 27 years in Pinellas County Schools, the last, I believe, 12 as Chief Financial Officer, 41 years in finance is not easy. And so we wanted to have an opportunity for a national search and some layover for that. So there was an opportunity to work with Mr. Smith, and I appreciate the board's agreement to do that. So if approved tonight, Mr. Jefferson will start on the 16th and have about 4 weeks of time to work next to Mr. Smith. His background in particular, the last 10 years as a Chief Financial Officer and a Chief Operating Officer of a company in Arizona. And prior to that, 20-some years in finance, business, economics, and meets the qualifications. And 66 applicants. Not all of them, I would say, are qualified to take Mr. Smith's spot, but certainly Mr. Jefferson is, and we're excited to see him in that role.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussion on 7.4? Thank you. All those in favor of approving item 7.4 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Item 7.5, request approval of the administrative appointment of Chief Academic Officer. May I have a motion to approve 7.5?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion from Mrs. Edmond and a second from Mrs. Long. Mrs. Meyer?
So I just basically have the
Sure.
same questions on,
Sure.
For you. If you'd like me to repeat them, I can.
I've got them.
Okay, thank you.
So first, just to acknowledge Dr. Evans, who's in the back. 24 years, I think 25 years in Pinellas County Schools, 30 in education. Very happy to have him come back and join our district. When I became superintendent, this particular position was the one I previously occupied, so I know it very, very well, probably better than most. And just the general oversight in that position is all of pre-K through 12th grade education, as well as our current technical colleges and our adult education programs. So it's everybody from 3 years old to, I think our oldest student right now is in their 80s, so everybody in between. It includes pushing student achievement for the school district. That is the main function, is to drive student achievement. And in the case of the different departments, right, it's elementary, middle school, high school, it's the student experience like you heard about tonight, it's early childhood, and everything in between.